Right. We are now moving to session 5, which is the final session for today. It's a panel discussion on policy, data governance, and ORAT development, moderated by Dr. Gitanjali Yadav. I'll quickly introduce our panelists. 1 second, I'll share my screen. Dr. Bulortia is a science, technology, and innovation policy specialist at the Mongolian Academy of Sciences, where she contributes to the development and coordination of evidence-based research and innovation policies. Her work focuses on supporting research, governance, and institutional development with an emphasis on gradually aligning national STI systems with international practices. She has a scientific background as a PhD researcher in plant molecular biology, enabling her to bridge scientific research with policymaking, science diplomacy, and international cooperation. Dr. Devshish Mohanty is the director of BRIC National Institute. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so I would like to welcome.
Arhan, there is Dr. Debashish Mohanty's introduction somewhere in your pages. You can introduce him also. He's in the car. He says he will join in a few minutes, but we can begin this. So you can introduce him for the audience.
All right, appreciate that. Dr. Devshish Mohanty is the director of BRIC National Institute of Immunology, New Delhi, and a leading computational biologist in India. His research expertise includes protein structure prediction, genome analysis, molecular modeling, and bioinformatics tool development. Dr. Mohanty has contributed significantly to understanding biomolecular interactions and functional annotation of proteins using computational approaches. He has played a major role in strengthening computational biology research infrastructure and interdisciplinary training programs in India. He is a fellow of major Indian science academies and continues to guide national scientific collaborations and innovation in life sciences. So please welcome Dr. Gitanjali Yadav, Dr. Borsuya, Dr. Peter Murray-Rust, Dr. Debashish Mohanty. Our panelists, over to you, Dr. Gitanjali Yadav. Oh, you're muted, Dr. Yadav.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Brilliant. Is P able to speak? Peter, can you unmute yourself? Are we okay on the audio and video?
I think I'm unmuted.
Okay, brilliant. And Bortaluya, hi, good evening.
Evening.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Great. So Peter and Bortaluya, as we are all aware, we are going to have a very short panel discussion. I have the time in front of me on the screen because we have to close by India time 5:30. So we don't have a lot of time, but I think there will be enough to have a little bit of a reflective conversation on less reflective, I should say forward-looking conversation on AI-enabled science leading to enabled or responsible assessment. We heard Peter today already talking about how assessment in this is done and how interoperability is critically important and missing essentially. So what is it that we need to change and who is going to lead this change? Because individuals, organizations, governments, these are intangible. I would say these are intangible things, but if you just take it upon yourself, we might lead the change and then it might happen. So I'm going to place the context of this panel as the capstone to the first day of this workshop. And when I say the first day, all of you are aware that today was the first day. There are 2 more days to this workshop, which earlier we had conveyed based on availability of our partners with whom we are doing the cloud login sessions for the spaces for everybody's individual login spaces was 4th and 5th of February. But we have very limited spaces for 4th and 5th, and we have a huge number of applicants. And I really want to give an opportunity to every applicant, which we could not have done last time. So we may change the dates to middle of February, but we will inform each one of you when those dates are. You'll have to mark those in your calendar, and they will be consecutive one after the other. So today's conversation, I hope it has been useful to all of you, and I hope you will remain engaged with us. The panel essentially is trying to bring together scientific data and policy perspectives to reflect on what we have seen throughout the workshop till now. And structural biology, with its AI-driven modules, simulation-heavy workflows. If you can't see me, you should tell me, but I think things are working. In the morning, I was glitching. So structural biology, which was our today's focus, with its AI-driven simulation-heavy workflows and software-mediated discovery, quite often allows us to look through a powerful lens through which to ask broader questions, which we are hoping we have been able to do today. So Peter addressed during the day how such work should be documented and assessed. Also, he looked at how fairness, what fairness means when data cannot simply be shared. What now we want to do in this panel is to address how we can ensure reproducibility and trust in AI-driven science, and very critically, who gets to define the rules of evaluation in a global scientific session. I saw some very interesting questions today on the chat box that many of you had asked especially about it. So I hope that the panel will answer some of your questions, but most importantly, please ask us more questions. Please interact with us. We want to connect hands-on scientific practice with research assessment reform. We want to connect data governance with Global South leadership. And we want to do this under the larger umbrella or this stage of the OTV rare. I call it the OTV rare because it's a rare kind of combination of people. So OTV rare work task group in the next 2 years when we are going to be running this. So we have, of course, a domain expert, domain scientist, a structural biologist and chemist with us, Peter Murray Rast. We also have a policy expert, Dr. Bortoluya, whom you just heard. She's from the Mongolian Academy of Sciences. And I'm so grateful to you, Bortoluya, for joining us, despite this being, 7 p.m. for you already in your country, in your time zone? I'm sure. Yeah, I suppose so. So we also have perspectives from the Global South from all of us. And we have early career voices in the room, full of our everybody in the audience. And you have a data fair visitation workflow expert, that is me. And if Dr. Mohanty, I hope he'll be joining anytime now, and he's another full-on AI and structure biologist with us. So the first question that I'm going to put, so I'm going to lead with a few questions to the panel, but it is very important that you all as attendees put these questions to the panel also. The first question that I have to the panel is that, and I think it's to you, Peter. Today, we have seen how AI-driven structural biology relies on complex workflows and pipelines. You saw certain software, you were able to see some documentation and simulations that were shown as case studies to all of you today. Why do traditional publication-based metrics struggle to capture the value of this work? And what should replace those traditional metric-based publication-based metrics? To Peter.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Okay.
Right. I'm going to take a lesson from software development. When we develop software, we develop it incrementally, continuously, in the open, and it's technically reviewed at all processes. So, for example, I commit my software and semantic climate software several times a day to GitHub, where the system is able to tell me if there are any errors, it shares it with the group, and so forth. By contrast, when we look at traditional publication methods, they have a single chunk. The research is done, and then the author submits something, and then the journal comes back and there's a little bit of revision, which is nothing to do with the community. There are perhaps 2 or 3 reviewers, and then the thing is published, and that's it. It is the version of record. And I think we have to get away from single event publication to continuous publication of the experiment. And if we do that, then I think many of the problems will go away. This was pioneered by Jean-Claude Bradley in his idea of open notebook science, where you actually publish your notebook, and that was done, picked up very nicely by Open Malaria with Todd, I forget his name. Anyway, in Australia and UCL, and that's a model that we should deal with, particularly if it is for public benefit. So an open notebook, which is published literally several times a day.
Absolutely. Botaloya, can I put the next question to you? Are you there? Can you hear us? And
Yeah.
are you okay to speak?
Yeah, it's good. Can you hear me?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question I would like to ask you specially is about a policy readiness kind of question, Botuluya. From a policy and institutional perspective, what early decisions do you think countries like India or even Mongolia, more importantly, Mongolia with your experience, have to make now to prepare for an AI-enabled future research community before the complete technical maturity takes place in our countries?
Mhm. Okay.
Give us a picture of Mongolian AI readiness.
First of all, I just would like to thank for inviting me in this meeting as a panelist, and I'd also like to thank for the nice introductions. So I think that it's better to concentrate on today's situation in Mongolia. That actually science, technology, and innovation development is not well built here in Mongolia compared with the other developed countries. It's maybe commonly related to the human resource insufficiency issues. In fact, the country's population is also so small that many people have little opportunities to work in the scientific sector. Therefore, we just see that the data science and the artificial intelligence could be the potential to bring the accelerated progress in the science field in Mongolia. For that, we have to prepare the human resources anyway in AI and the data science field. And actually, in our academy has 16 institutes, and in some institutes have data, especially in the climate related and remote sensing research field. But we still don't have some infrastructure to collect the data and share with other people's in this data. And also we don't have that platform for tool development and something. So that's these things are considerable for AI-enabled science readiness. And it also difficult for researchers to start applying a new direction to their research topics, like AI something. So it is also the challenge to lead them into culture of the data sharing and some other things. So for these issues, it's essential to collaborate and learn from the international organizations and foreign institutes and universities, or such as CODATA and Global Open Science Cloud from China that operating in this field. And I would like to mention that recently we have just generated a task group from the code data for data visitation and research assessment together with the Gita and other members from several countries. I hope that these activities will bring us a good opportunity to develop the AI field in Mongolia. Thank you.
Absolutely, Bertaluya. Thank you very much for your comments. I am also aware that last year itself, the COERA ERIP working group, as well as the Global Open Science GEOSC in China, had together run a long workshop with your help in Mongolia. Was that, would you be able to tell us whether it was attended by policymakers or students, early career researchers, or was it, mostly people unrelated with actual hands-on day-to-day research?
Oh yeah, actually there was many type of the people from government and policymakers and also the researchers.
Yes.
But it actually was a very new and the people was I just understand that the some people cannot understand well about it. So I think that we have to try to help the other researchers to get them
Yes.
more familiar to the AI and the big data science or something.
Absolutely. So
Mm.
in India, Botaloya, what we have been doing for many years, we would mean our team of collaborators and colleagues within the Northern Indian sector in computational biology. We have been doing a lot of hands-on, holding hands with early career researchers as well as senior scientists sometimes to teach them hands-on how to start something. So we do courses in coding languages. I mean, that was before AI just completely made coding an impossible to and needless to learn and so on. But after that, we've been doing how to run large scale parallel computing and biological networks and so on. And we would love to build this community with you and your colleagues in Mongolia so that we could do some events together. Maybe the next one should be, led by you, and I will be joining like you are joining me. We
Yes.
would be joining from here and contributing as well as we can. But I see now that we have Dr. Debashish Mohanty with us. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Mohanty. Are you able to unmute yourself, speak up, and switch on your video, or are you still glitchy on the WebEx? We've had glitches today. Can I put a question to you, Dr. Mohanty? Okay, I think Dr. Mohanty is joining us. So what we will do in the spirit of interactivity and audience engagement, there's a question, Peter, that I would put to you. Sashwati Bhattacharya is asking, how can data privacy and safety be ensured in AI-driven research? That is the question in the chat box. Would you like to take that, Peter?
Yes, I think we have to think what is the framework we use for AI. If we simply use the portals that the major silicon tech companies provide, then we have no privacy. They are scraping the whole of our lives and everything. So if you use things like Facebook or ChatGPT or any of these others, there is no privacy. You have to build your own system which you can control. Now, it's possible to use large language models locally to download them, and I think I may be out of date, but I would look first of all to Hugging Face for this because they have an open approach, although I don't think they're an open company. But also the European Union is developing an AI cloud of some sort. I don't know complete details. UK is not in the EU anymore, of course. But I would look to that sort of thing. I would particularly urge countries like India and Mongolia to develop their own independent, controllable AI, where you know what is happening. There's no intrusion from Silicon Valley or the rest, because they will destroy it without question. So it has to be controlled at, I think, a national level.
Thank you, P. I would like to further respond to this question myself. Sashwati, I believe that privacy and safety both are ensured only when AI systems are built around governance by design. And that is something we are not yet doing fully. We are coming into it post hoc later. And so therefore limiting, the thing is, if we don't do governance by design, we will limit data movement. We have to use secure and federated analyses also. India is already leading in a lot of these efforts. We can ensure consent and provenance, and we can also embed ethical oversight throughout the research lifecycle into an AI project. And I believe that can, with people like you and us talking about it, this can surely be addressed. So with that, I once again welcome Dr. Debashish Mohanty for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Dr. Mohanty, we already introduced you. We already
Yeah.
introduced you at the beginning of this, so people know who you are. And I would straight away ask you a question. And the question that I have for you is about being fair without total free sharing of all our data, holding on to our sovereignty while being fair on data. So in domains such as biomedical health, which yourself you've been very well associated with over the years, certain data and models cannot easily be shared, and we know that is a fact. But in such cases, how can FAIR and other principles such as data visitation, maybe, I don't know, help in maintaining trust and reproducibility in the research that that we are conducting, as well as the results that we are sharing with the community?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm sorry I couldn't join in the morning. And as you told rightly that when it comes to biomedical, especially clinical data, which involve personal or certain information about the patient, we can't be completely open. So there has to be some degree of control on that. So one of the way the AI itself provides is instead of completely sharing the entire raw data or the entire data, if you are sharing a model which trained on that data. So it's a type of federated learning. I believe there are swarm learning, there are type of concepts already come, because even in West also, many of the hospitals have very stringent rules. The data cannot go out of their premises and all these things. In such cases, you can always train a model on it, and you are not directly sharing the data, you are sharing the model. So the whatever your model has learned from the data, so I mean there could be some way one can work out more complex AI model. So instead of having a direct access to that data, so whatever part is learned from the model which is shareable or something, that could be further incorporated to incorporate additional data or the model parameters which are coming from additional data. That is a way to provide access, have this one at the same time respect the privacy or something. And another way to look at it is like, even though that our current act of the parliament, which is this thing, is saying that okay, the data which is giving by the actually the owner of the data or the person who shared the data, and the data fiduciaries, the people like intermediate, they have a responsibility to ensure all this. In this case also, like, if I mean, is there a way we could give control of the data sharing to the person who owns the data? Person who owns means each individual. So if you think of things like blockchain, and this is not a controlled access. The blockchain is a completely federated process. These are all scattered. But the way the mechanism is, I mean, there may be ways through blockchain and that sort of things. You give the control to the individual. So you could through some this, like if you want to access about me, if I am allowing you access, I can give access to the data or things like that. So that could be other way, but one has to think of, I mean, if not governance or certain frameworks through which it can be foolproof, and whatever access I gave to X, that only stays with X and X doesn't share it with Y or things like that, but one has to think about it. These are the two ways I can think. Both the ways could be balanced, like the privacy of the individual, whereas the benefit which comes of the sharing a limited aspect of the data. Or some of the cases people share the data insights. The data per se is not shared, but the results of the data can be shared. That could be another way to use it.
Wonderful. That's right. So at this point, I would like to move on to the next theme that I want to be that we want to have the panel to reflect upon. But before I go on to my next question on assessment as a design choice, which will be put to you again, Dr. Mohanty, I have a small message to the audience. Looking ahead, I would like, if possible, all of you to think about what one thing you learned today which you feel could inform the next 2 years what we are doing in the OT task group. And if you would like to be associated with us in building fair, global, and visitation enabled research assessment frameworks, what one lesson from today would be useful in that? Just put in the chat box your views about that, and we will come back to that discussion. While I put my next question to you, Dr. Mohanty, in view of the fact that you are the director of one of the Biotech Research and Innovation Council institutions of India. We are 14 institutions under the BRIC BRIC model, and you are leading one of those institutions right here in Delhi, the National Institute of Immunology. So my question is, should research assessment, and when I say research assessment, not just students' research assessment, as we always do in our RSE committees for grad students, but also recruitments and promotions of recruited staff members. So should research assessment be treated as something we evaluate after the fact, which is what we have always been doing traditionally, or designed into the scientific workflows from the start, which is something that we are not doing, but could we do it in the BRIC ecosystem? And what is your views about how that would change our working ways in practice?
Yeah, I mean, design, in principle, it could be a good idea to build, design the assessment workflow a priori. So, but probably in practice, it would be quite difficult because you in research, you change your work plan as per your things research goes and this one. So, I don't know how feasible in all cases. In certain cases, the assessment could be built in type of thing, and there is some degree of that is probably in practice, though it is not written. And the type of assessment which is done, people know a priori that okay, we will be assessed on these parameters, we will be assessed on based on publication, we will be assessed, our data should be whatever the result output should be put into. In certain cases it should be deposited to the databases or something. Some part of it is there, but probably it is not it's not practical probably to completely design this. Then you probably a priori know the entire workflow if you want to, which probably in many research settings or questions it may not be possible. But however, for if we doing it post facto after the work is complete, we are designing, so we should make all the results of our research available so that a fair assessment can be done. And that is where is the important. That is why all these open data are making your genomic data or structured data making public, and all it came from that. If you look probably structural data, morning I did not attend the session probably, but you had assigned the structural data to me, and the structural data was probably one of the data which is most open, I would say. And so that is why very rigorous assessment validation framework has come. And there were certain uncertainty on certain type of information in the structural data framework, which was because the data is open. It could be, for example, how accurately you could predict a confirmation of a ligand from a protein crystal structure. Is it really always guided by electron density, or there are other features, or there are certain inaccuracies creeping in? All these could change, like there are new standard, like that's come because the data is open. If the data was not open, it would not have been possible. So that is why the even if it is done post facto, the output should be completely open or available so that this assessment can be done. And this is more important for the AI models, because unless you tell exactly what are the layers, what are the parameters, what are the weights of each of these models, you will not be able to do that. And many cases, probably, I believe when AlphaFold initially came, the source code was open source. However, the weights and parameters were covered under some sort of a copyright patent or something. But later on, when it was pointed out, everything has been made open source. But so there will be any powerful models. Probably the model itself is being shared or something. But there may be some fine prints that these weights of the models are covered under some sort of a IP or something. If you make use of it for a commercial purpose or something, it is probably always not completely open source like it. So those are the things one probably has to look very rigorously or minutely to understand. Like even if somebody shared the LLM or shared the parameter, is it completely open for all types of use, or there may be some restrictions of it in certain type of use? But it is a good point to think about it. And this one, so we know a priori that this is the part available, this is the part not available for this thing.
Very
I
nice.
hope
Thank
I
you so
answered the question.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, you answered the follow-up question that I had also. So, which allows me to move on to some of the questions that the audience has asked. There is a question by Dr. Shwetank Sharma at ILBS. He is concerned about open access. On one side, we are talking about open access. On the other, it's this surveillance capitalism, I believe. His question is basically privacy for all people like us was lost with the adoption of Google and Android systems, and everybody uses these. So other companies are now joining in. So in essence, this is guiding us away from open access. Would you agree or would you disagree? Question is open to everybody in the panel. Who would like to take it? Peter?
Well, this is where science
She's
has been
disconnected or something.
Sorry.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
no,
Okay.
yes, we can hear you, Peter. I can hear you, Peter.
Right. Okay. So this is where science has unfortunately got intermingled with commercial processes, and the commercial processes dictate how we run most of our operations at all levels of our life, so that privacy is determined not by our wishes, but by the platforms, and it is very difficult to change that. I think I don't have a lot to add from what I said before, but we have to come up with policies, and we have to work with our local and our national and international governments to try and protect are working in this area, but I have a feeling that it's too late. And I think that the universal adoption of AI slop like ChatGPT produces is going to make it even worse, because it's actually difficult to determine truth and reality from AI slop. And that makes it impossible to do anything.
I do agree with you. AI is the way in the room now, and we have to deal with it. And a lot of questions on the chat are about whether we are banning students and is it a good idea. Personally, I believe that you cannot ban anybody from using these devices and these options. But what we can do is ask everybody to maybe build, make it, talk about it, describe how you're using it, and so on. Dr. Mohanty, my question is to you now. The next question is on the chat box for Dr. Mohanty. Hello.
Okay? I think my net has some problem.
No, but we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, so
can you hear me? I can speak on the phone also. I can speak on the phone. Okay. So the question that Syed Mohammed has for you, and it is specifically for you because you're the guy, you're the expert on this. He's asking, what do you think about AI-driven drug discovery, data science integration with AMR? So you,
Okay.
Dr. Mohanty, are using AI for AMR already. So you can tell us and we can hear you. I think everybody can hear you on the panel screen
Okay.
already.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I mean, through phone or directly through the audio, the computer?
Directly through the computer. Yes, 100%.
No.
Yeah, we can hear you. Dr. Mohanty, we can hear you. Can you speak up, Arhan, and tell him that you can hear?
Okay, so I mean, I can't hear you, but I am assuming you are able to hear me.
Yes,
And there has been significant progress in AI-driven drug discovery, and they're both in small molecule, also in like this one antibody-based drugs through protein design. So I mean, even though these methods, whether AI or non-AI based computational methods, have been used for years, the gap between the prediction and experiment was quite high. That means if you might give some 100 possibility, maybe one out of it will work in the experiment. But now that gap has reduced very significantly. That is one area. And this one, that is why there are people are more optimistic. There are many companies have invested in the AI thing, and some of the AI driven compounds predicted entirely in silico are in phase 1, phase 2 clinical trials. And AMR is another area, the identification of new antimicrobial peptides, and all this has been also in area where are many AI driven methods are playing a significant role. And again, the AI driven identification antimicrobial peptides, their binding affinity prediction, and all these things have very significantly improved in last 4 to 5 years. So we are quite optimistic that AI would make a significant change.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, Dr. Mohanty. Can you hear us now? Are you able to hear us now? Okay. There is a question in the chat box, which I believe will apply to you also Bautoluya. And I would ask you to take this question. This is a question by Dr. Harpreet Singh. He says that we all know about FAIR principles in data-driven science and biology, but what we need to expand is AI-driven research in academia, especially in remote towns and remote cities, in tier 2 and tier 3 educational institutes. In India, we have so many of such. And therefore, it is very important to have shared infrastructures and shared resources, not just equipment, but shared human resources. So would you agree, Bautoluya? And do you have any comments about that? And then I'll move to Peter.
I agree with that because the training the human resources is a big issue in Mongolia, since that I feel is very new here. And in that case, if we have some possibility to send our researchers India and other countries and learn the many things from there and come back to my country and teach the others and develop this field in Mongolia is very important.
I think it will be wonderful. And that is why Semantic is the right place to do it. Peter, would you like to talk about how we are overcoming this in Semantic for smaller towns, remote rural villages? That is where we started, did we not, Peter?
Indeed. One of the things, we know about many countries is their communications are fragmented. So it's very valuable to be able to think of people at the end of a rather fragile line or out in the fields who need this information. So we need to think about encapsulating it in a way which is independent of having to log on to California all the time to share this. And I think in many cases, AI is a good technology for encapsulating knowledge, so long as it's done by people you trust. So crystallography is a particular example of that. That's what's been done by AlphaFold and so on. They've taken trusted data, encapsulated it, and that can be taken away from the commercial interests and can be run by anyone in the world. And that's at least the aim that we should aim for, making it available to everybody. I mean, we've had people in semantic climate who are 15 years old. This is technology which is available at high school level, and bright high school people can use this. There's no barrier now between school and university and between India and Mongolia or any other country if we have the political will.
Absolutely. I do agree there. I will, in the interest of time, we will take one more last question from one of the attendees again, and I encourage the panel members to respond yourself on the chat box if you can to several questions that have been asked our attendees. I'm going to put the question that is by Dr. Jerome as well as Dr. Shwetank. Now, Dr. Jerome is saying that we need to inculcate AI into academia curriculum, considering the AI. But Jerome, that is the national education policy. It's already taken care of that from schools in India, at least. And Dr. Shwetank says that I'm coming from a medical background. And Dr. Shwetank believes that data definition, limits, and structure is to be developed in countries, especially in the global south, including, of course, India, before we even start building foundational models for ourselves, for our populations, or unique to our regions. And I think this will be applying to you, Dr. Mohanty, if you can address this question. In his experience, he says that a large population of Indian patients do not present the way they present to hospitals in the West. And therefore, we have to develop strategies to build a country-wise data accuracy system, which does not depend upon the rest of the world for approval. That way, each country would have independence in their thinking, in their data analysis, without fearing sovereignty and loss of sovereign data or information, which may not apply to others. And so data within a country would be more valuable for use within a country as well. Of course, that is true. And it would enhance data sharing, collaborative research, and that would allow more multiple groups working on it, on the same problem independently. I would say collaborating rather than competing, rather than attempting to find solutions to eradicate diseases. Do you have any comments on that? Any of the panel members? I don't see Dr. Mohanty just now.
Can you see me now? Am I audible?
We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Please, if you would like to take this question, Dr. Mohanty.
Yeah, I mean, what I believe, if I understood what he means, is like if a clinical parameter, what is considered the ideal value for the West, may not be the same for the Indian patients or something. So that is why it is very important that we should not be guided by that. But what AI or the big data is going to give is, if we collect enough data, our AI model will automatically tell us that if the BP in Indian blood pressure limit things are this much, not same as the exactly on the Western population or something. So that will, I believe, that sort of things will automatically come from the data. So we should not, what he is right, that we should not restrict the values or the range of data or the parameters based on the definition which is used elsewhere, saying that, okay, the values of the data in this range is not meaningful, we should ignore it or something. Rather, if we collect enough data, it will automatically establish that this one. So right at every level, that hospital or something, probably with this one, if this data, the like electronic health records are implemented, it would automatically come. So as these technologies are becoming cheaper and cheaper, even in the government systems and many of the private hospitals are all now, the electronic record system is there. And I forget the exact name of the thing in government. There is a ID now, the way we have Aadhaar number for all sorts of things. For our health record also, there is a currently ID available and all these things. So with this, it will be much easier hospital to other, and if this data is pulled together, you will get a much better definition of what are the Indian standards or something. But again, there again the question you asked me in the beginning, how much this data is shareable, with whom it should be shared, and unless you share all the data at the entire country level or entire South Asian level, you will not be able to reach the what are the ideal parameters for this population or that. So that is where both the things needs to be balanced, the benefit of making the data accessible as well as the risk of sharing the data openly. So.
Exactly. And I think what you meant, Dr. Mohanty, was the Ayushman Bharat ka health account.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
I forgot the exact term. So yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes. So that
exactly.
all of us can have in the same way many other IDs are being. So India has a lot of data, federated systems for data. Then that is something we lead in within the global south as well. What I would like to now say, we are coming to the end of the session. I want to thank especially all of the attendees who have stuck around with us since the morning. You have 3 more days to go with hands-on sessions, so please don't give up on the energy. But I would like to end by a very nice comment that I have from Shashwati Bhattacharya, and I was thinking of a closing statement, but her statement is so nice. I'm going to just read it out directly. She says that today's session has been very insightful and thought-provoking. And some of the highlights are that, first of all, AI does make the process of drug designing faster and more extensive, giving us probable options. But also the ultimate choice remains in the hands of the human in this human-machine interface. Secondly, she says that the verification of data is something that a lot of us have learned about today, and it ensures transparency and ease of access to data use. Also, how different kinds of fields of research should take steps to tackle, insufficiency of data, which brings me to the next big international workshop that we are doing, which is in March, and it will be on biodiversity informatics. And like today and in these 4 days, you are learning about structure and unbinding, ligand binding, and molecular dynamics and simulations with AI. In the next one in March, you will all be learning about biodiversity informatics. But that workshop we want to have in person in Delhi. So please keep a lookout on our LinkedIn pages. And particularly for those of you who have registered today, we are going to send an email to each one of you in case you are interested or would like to share it with others. So we are going to continue this, Shashwati. And finally, she's saying how global collaboration is essential to achieve successful AI-driven research. I completely agree with that. This is what Harpreet, Shwetank, and Jerome have also mentioned. So in the March workshop, we are having our Swiss and Brazilian instructors come to India, and they will meet you. They will talk to you about how to extract knowledge from publications, research papers. It is not only for biodiversity scientists, but for anybody who's using research publications. You are more than welcome to visit us and be part of that workshop. I'm glad. And she says, I would like to learn more about it and acquaint myself with the use of all of these new methods, which is the aim of the task group in CoData. We want to be able to do this for different kinds of data sets. With that, on that note, I also want to just propose a vote of thanks to the chairperson of the India CoData Committee, Dr. Debashish Mohanty. He's had a very heavy day and still he came and joined us. So thank you for being here, Dr. Mohanty. The entire CoData team in the Indian National Committee, but also my team here at NIPGR, Renu, Arhan, students, young intern students who have never anchored before but did it today and have run this workshop despite the short notice that we got from the India AI Summit. Of course, I thank the India AI Summit, and I thank our speakers and panelists, you, Peter, yourself, Bortoluya, the entire molecular simulations team, how beautifully they explained and gave demonstrations to the students and to the attendees, and above all, to each one of you for being with us today. Thank you very much. We will inform you by email. There will be a separate link to join for the hands-on sessions. If any of you feel that you cannot attend the next 3 days, which are hands-on, and would like to have the certification for just today's workshop, please just let us know by email and we will be very happy to provide that. Okay. I think with that, we can just close this thing and start the next time. Thank you once again, everybody. Please join us on the Semantic Climate LinkedIn page. Oh, yeah, that is with Peter right there, our mascot, Amy. Is that are you unmuted, P? Would you like to just say bye with Amy? More than welcome to.
Just this has been wonderful.
Yes, it has been wonderful.